Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the school board meeting on September 30th. It is 5:30 p.m. We'll call this meeting to order. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Ms. Yetsey?
Here.
Ms. McCarthy?
Here.
Ms. Saxon?
Here.
Ms. Muir?
Here.
Mr. Bott? Here.
Finalization of agenda.
The agenda is finally presented.
Thank you. Superintendent's report.
Yes, ma'am. We have one item tonight under the superintendent's report, and I am going to call on Julie Alberti, who is going to share with all of us an update on the implementation of our emotional support groups. Thank you.
So obviously we all know that we started the emotional support last year in January 14th, 2019, and so this year it has continued. So this year we have 4 classes or programs. We have one at Liberty, NRAC, 2 of them at NRAC, 1 at the high school. We have employed 3 intervention specialists and 7 paraprofessionals to service those students. Across the district, not one program looks the same as the other one. They all target different needs of the students and provide different services. I wanted to share a little bit of a timeline about how we got to where we are today. So we obviously had to hire several new staff members, which was done in June. During the course of the summer, the new staff all completed 40 hours of registered behavior tech training, which provides them with additional resources and strategies about how to work with students with social and emotional needs. In August, we met as a team, all the intervention specialists and the paraprofessionals, in order to make sure we kicked off in the right manner. Everybody will have been trained in nonviolent physical crisis intervention, which is something that the district provides. And in September, I had the opportunity to meet with the emotional support intervention specialist for an entire day, where they were able to talk about how things were going, the curriculum, where we were headed, and what supports and services that we needed to make sure were in place. We did send out a survey to all of the staff in the buildings that are affected by the emotional support room. And we've gotten most of them back, so I'm going to share a little bit of those results. In November, our staff is kind of splitting. Some of them are going to a zones of regulation professional development that's provided by the Lorraine County Educational Service Center, and some of them are driving down to Columbus for a day training on trauma-informed care in our schools. And we will continue with professional development as it comes along and as we have the ability to send them. So I mentioned that we started last year in January, and last year we provided support to 10 students. This year we are providing support to 27 students right now. However, I guarantee you that there are people in line waiting. There are teachers who are asking us about other students, and we're always consulting about other students as well. We do have a process in order to receive the supports for the emotional support room. Otherwise, we would be inundated and not be able to keep up with the supports that are needed. Approximately 40 of our general education teachers are impacted by the supports that we provide, and that's because our students are spread across multiple classrooms. We don't put all of our students who need emotional supports in one classroom. So about approximately 40 general education teachers get the support of the emotional support staff, as well as 12 intervention specialists. So what do their services look like? So for our students, these are just some of what we provide. This isn't all-encompassing, but we do daily check-ins and check-outs with every individual child who's involved in the emotional support rooms. We provide the scheduled breaks. You can read here what we provide to all of our students. The alternative lunch setting has actually been really beneficial, not only in the fact that the students get very frustrated and overwhelmed when they're in a very large setting for lunch. It also provides an opportunity for them to develop some social skills. So we're seeing students who really never had a whole lot of friends before actually talking to each other and joking around and seeing each other in a different light. At one point, we had a student who we felt was ready to go back out into the general population for lunch. We're like, hey, why don't we go ahead and give it and move on out. He's like, nope, I'm good, I like it here. So he recognized his need and he was comfortable in that setting, so we certainly didn't push him out. We do provide reinforcement systems that we try to connect to the Ranger Strong attributes. We also provide in-the-moment interventions. So that's all the other ones are proactive that happen on a very regular basis. But in-the-moment interventions, we work with students when they're having a rough day or moment or hour. Our emotional support group staff will go into the classroom and provide those supports within the classroom as much as they can so that we're not having the students removed from the general education setting and they're not losing out on the core curriculum. However, if there is a time where they do need to be removed because they're not able to stay for social, emotional, and behavioral reasons, we are able to provide them with that safe space so that they can de-escalate, and it also preserves the integrity of that student. It allows them to maintain their relationships with their peers and their staff and their teachers so that obviously they're having a bad day, they don't need to display that in front of all of their classmates, so we give them that opportunity and that safe space to be able to do that. So of course our students benefit from the emotional support groups, but so do our staff. So some of the things that we provide, we support our staff across the district, the 40 general education teachers, and I believe it was 12 intervention specialists. They benefit because they get to see what those interventions look like. They're modeled for them. That's why we try to do it in the moment, in the classroom, so that our emotional support staff can model for our teaching staff so they can use those same strategies. We also communicate regularly with the staff. We show them different ways of reinforcing our students for behaviors, and we utilize the most effective strategies. We want to keep them in their classrooms as much as possible and maintain their behaviors within their classroom. So from the survey that we took, we came down with, we picked out things that stuck out the most. So areas of strength, the communication with the parents. The emotional support room staff do the behavioral communication with our parents. We take that off the responsibility of the general education teacher or the intervention specialist because the emotional support staff are the ones that are dealing with those behaviors and they're able to talk specifically about what happened, what reinforcement they were able to provide, how long it took to de-escalate, and when they were ready to go back to class if that was the case. We also provide communication with the students. They're on a regular daily communication system. Most of our students use what we call the gold sheet. The gold sheet is actually filled with goals. They're top 5 that are created by the students and the staff together, so we make sure that we're working with them on their goal sheets. As a reactive strategy, the staff has been pleased with the ability to help those students who are escalating, because in the past when those students would escalate, sometimes instruction had to stop in order to bring those children back into regulation so they could self-regulate. Now we are able to send the staff in there so that education doesn't have to stop, but we can still work with that individual child. We're finding that the amount of time, minutes, that they are in an escalated state is decreasing because we have those immediate supports available to them. And then obviously proactively we do provide day-to-day supports. Of course, we wanted to share with you some of the wonderful things that our staff is saying about the program, one of the best things we've ever done in North Ridgeville City Schools. You can read those yourself. But it's pretty exciting to get these types of comments back from our staff. And I too feel that they are an amazing set of staff members. I wanted to share one short little story, basically a testimonial to the benefits of the emotional support room, one of the many. So we started this year at Liberty with our first and second graders. And so the emotional support staff taught these students about zones of regulation and how to utilize their strategies. So one of our young men had a difficult time at recess, and he marched right into the emotional support room, and he went right over to the zones of regulation where we have different emotions that they're feeling, and he was able to point out sad. He wasn't in a state where he could speak about the situation that had occurred, but he went to the board and he wrote that up for the staff so that they can understand. And so for anybody who doesn't understand second grade spelling, it says, We were playing a game of football. They weren't playing fair. It was 1 against 5, but they were not letting me talk. So he wrote that up. He stated he was sad. He went under the beanbag and cried, "I just need a hug." Now, had we not had the emotional support room available for him, it's very likely he would have gone back into his general education classroom setting. He could have had a major meltdown, and it could have been the end of his afternoon. So we were able to de-escalate, help him understand, give him that hug he needed, and help him know that we were going to be there for him, and we're going to help him through his recess issues. So additional benefits to the emotional support room or program. Obviously, we made connections with Nancy Lowry and Associates. To this date, we have 39 referrals to that agency. Not all of them have started therapy. They're going through the process of checking on insurances and all that kind of thing, but we have had 39 referrals. Brittany and I have had 2 speaking engagements. We've gone to Miami University in Oxford. I was there. And we are presenting at OSBA in November. We've also had surrounding districts call us, contact us to seek information out about our program. I did find out, actually, I believe it's Avon is creating a program model after hours. But we still have more work to do, and we recognize that. So this again is from the survey. One side says that we do good communication with the parents and the students. We always need to work on that communication with the building staff. So we're going to have to rethink how we're communicating and see what we can do better in order to make sure that our building staff feels that we're supporting them at all times. They've also requested more training, more professional development in the areas of behavior. They want Brittany, as our behavior specialist, to go in and do more refreshers about how to handle behaviors in the general classrooms. She did that last year. She went to every building, I believe 2 or 3 times, so we will continue to do that because they want to learn more about how to de-escalate. The next one is interesting. They want to have more general information about the program. However, they didn't receive the initial introduction because what we did when we work with our staff members about teaching them about the program, we target those staff members who are working with those students. So there are staff members out there who might not have the full knowledge of everything because they don't have students who are involved in the program. And there is a concern about how we are utilizing paraprofessionals in the district when our DSR paras are absent. We're going to revamp that, and we're going to look at that and try to make it more conducive to everybody that's involved. And finally, a couple of pictures, just so you guys can see what we're doing in the different rooms. So at Liberty, this room is right across the hall from the office. It was a storage room. We recreated it into the emotional support room where we have the interactive TV, small group area for learning. We've got some storage areas this year. I believe this is some of our zones information. Yes, the zones of regulation is right here, so the students are able to talk about what zone they're feeling at that time. And then we also have a little area for them when they start to have a difficult time or they just need to chill out somewhere because they can't cope with whatever's going on. These quotes are quotes from the children. We asked the children to just write 1 sentence about what it's like and how the emotional support room has helped them thus far. These don't necessarily correlate to the grade levels, so I don't know who said helps me stay out of trouble, but somewhere between 1st and 10th grade they've said this. In the 3-4 building, in the 3-4, we actually took over a room that was being used by our speech therapist, or actually all of our therapists, and they graciously moved to a new location. And we have, it's a relatively small room, and we were able to carve out some small spaces for them, so when they feel that need to just be tight and cozy and be able to decompress, we do also have a table in there for some small group learning. And then these are some things that we provide at, like I said, at our younger grades. Everything is different, depends on where you go. So this does not look like this at the high school, but it gives them some visuals about what I can do when I'm on my break. And then we've talked a lot about reinforcers. All of our students work toward reinforcers that are interesting to them. So those are some of the reinforcers that the students have chosen that will be motivating to them to help them. At our 5-8, that was the first one that we created last year. I love that the student says this is my happy place because it makes me kind of warm and fuzzy that he feels there is that safe place to go when the world's out of control for him. We definitely have values that we live by. We have a small group area. Again, those beanbags are everywhere because sometimes our kids just need to be able to sit by themselves in a beanbag or climb underneath the beanbag. Sometimes our staff members sit in the beanbags next to them, so we can work with them there. At the high school, we just carved out a corner of one little room for our students. Basketball is huge, so when the kids are having a rough time or they need their break, our high school numbers are low, so they're able to go in there and they can shoot some hoops, they can talk through what's going on. Some of our students have some things going on that probably none of us can even imagine, and it gives them that opportunity to have a safe place to go to, and they can take that break in there with adult supervision, of course. And here is our staff across the district who works in each of our buildings. Tom Zedry likes to refer to our high school staff as our ESP, our emotional support para. And then all the other buildings have intervention specialists along with paraprofessionals. And that's it. There you go. Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
How many can you potentially serve?
Well, right now, we are hitting 13 in our 5-8, and they're working really, really, really hard. We really didn't want to get over 10, but we're not going to turn kids away. So we work with, they just make it work, but it's a struggle. And because we never have them all in one place at one time, so it's more about being able to jump from place to place to place to place in order to service them.
Can you send us a copy of this?
Sure can.
My last thing is, do you need anything from schools?
That is a good question.
What else do you need?
You know what? Right now, we're kind of okay, but we are looking toward, we're already talking about next year and what we're going to need for next year. So we can cross that bridge. Maybe in January?
The next question is about the students themselves.
Sure.
Have you seen, I know it's new, but have you seen any successes, turnarounds with their grades or forming friendships outside of emotional support rooms?
So we have had, they are more inclined to have conversations with other peers outside of the room. Unfortunately, oftentimes these kids are pegged as the ones that don't want to be friends with them. So we are seeing some of that develop. Sometimes it's with kids within the emotional support group, but they're carrying that friendship outside of school. We have one young man who is in 5-8 who we actually have a video of him doing a world presentation. We're like, oh my gosh, we never would have thought that would happen. Our little ones at Liberty, that's made a huge impact. I mean, staff is thrilled, but what we're seeing out of our students who used to have meltdowns and end up in Mr. Heflin's office and just being so upset, we're now able to catch them before that happens. Today I did a one-on-one meeting with every paraprofessional to ask them, how's it going? We called it our 30-day review, and I asked each one of them what was going on. And the feedback I got was amazing, but the one gentleman at Liberty was like, this is the one job I love coming to work every single day because I feel like I make a difference with these kids.
And then as these kids, my concern is we have this here at the school, they have some place where they can keep requests. Are you starting to notice that as they learn, having as long as they're tools and dealing with this because they need here, and then they go into the community, they're part of possible sports teams and other things outside of the community. Are we
So we
seeing
do.
those tools work elsewhere for them?
We have students who, we have at least one student on one of our fall sports teams. I was like, wow, look at that, you go. We had students on spring sports teams, which kind of were surprising, but it was pretty exciting. We have seen improvement, like the kids that we had from last year to this year, they did it. Like they're already starting to utilize the tools and strategies that we taught them. So now we're bringing this whole new flock of kids. So, you know, the goal is, as I talked to all the parents today, I can't wait to talk to you in June so you can tell me what a difference these kids are.
I have one more question.
Okay.
We train staff that, you know, in the classroom. What about our students? You put it perfect. These kids that do not have friends in mainstream anything in place to sort of, for lack of better words, train our students or educate our students on exactly. And I know that's part of the Ranger Strong initiative.
And
Do we
that's-
have anything geared towards helping this population specifically? outside of that?
Obviously, we do work through Ranger Strong as a piece of it, and actually, as Superintendent Pizzario will acknowledge, one of my goals is to talk about acceptance and cultural diversity, and so that's going to be a really huge push for me this year. But up to now, we have not done anything specific for that population. Any other questions?
What about preschool kindergarten? Does the program lean itself?
Next
that way?
year, they, actually preschool and kindergarten have been asking how come we can't have it, why can't we get this, we need this, and I'm like, where would we come in?
Yes, yeah.
But that, because we have the emotional support groups in place from 1 to 12, basically with additional supports, it's really allowed our behavior specialist to spend more time at the preschool, where before she was spread out so thin, but now she has those additional supports. And with the addition of our social worker, right now we're getting by, but I can't say that we don't have social, emotional, behavioral issues at the kindergarten specifically.
And then I noticed I was, had the opportunity to be at Ranger High Tech Academy in the counselor's office, and I noticed that some of the setup that you showed with the beanbag chairs and the zones of,
Yes.
what do you call that?
That's regulation.
Yes, some of the regulation. I noticed some of those materials are set up in her office now, so while you don't have like an actual person there, you do have some of the same support systems for those.
We do, and we implemented that last year. We saw a need for that, so with Melissa Durkin and myself and the behavior specialist and the school counselor, we were able to carve out a space so that the students who need something like that have the opportunity to go in that. So, we did talk about zones of regulation, the beanbag chair, we have, a table for them to just, focus there. We haven't had to use a whole lot this year, but it is there, and that would be where our behavior specialist would step in if we needed to do that.
Thank you. Well done.
You said we had some students that are up against stuff that we have no idea. Are we utilizing other areas of the social worker or, those situations to help
Yes.
these kids?
Definitely. I obviously can't give you specifics, but I can think of some of our students. What they go through on a daily basis is far different than myself or my children ever went through. So we have this behavior specialist kind of tag teams with our social worker. And on top of that, we have the guidance office. We kind of try to put this whole multimodal approach together and provide them with all the supports that they can. Our social worker will, work with them, the families in the home, help them get set up with agencies, and of course, we provide them with the Nancy Lowry additional support system.
Thanks. And I just want to thank Julie for her leadership in bringing this to us and her vision to bring something like for us. So, thank you so much. And that concludes the superintendent.
Thank you. Okay, that takes us to, what does that take us to? Takes us to hearing of public on agenda items. If anybody here would like to speak about an item that is on tonight's agenda, you may do so now. Okay, seeing none, that takes us to our consent report. Our education committee, Mrs. Tamiro.
We want agreement and 2 field trips to consider under the education report. The agreement is with Elyria City Schools for students who are open enrolled and have special needs. The first field trip to consider is an out-of-country field trip to Thailand. High school students and staff chaperones will travel to Thailand for a service trip from March 18, 2021 through March 27, 2021. The second field trip is for coaches and members of the men's high school basketball team to travel to Mansfield, Ohio to participate against 2 teams in 2 preseason basketball scrimmages. This concludes the education report.
Does anyone have any questions or comments about the education report? Seeing none, we'll move on to communications report. Mrs. Yancey.
We have 8 gifts to the North Ridgeville City Schools, and it is recommended that the Board of Education accept the following gifts. First, we have multiple rolls of duct tape, estimated value of $50, was donated donated by Sandra Payne to the Ranger High Tech Academy. Second, a monetary donation of $500 was donated by Counter Productions and Foreigner Band to the North Ridgeville High School Choir. Third, gently used reading books, estimated value of $25 was donated by James Trill to Early Childhood Community. Fourth, miscellaneous items of school supplies was donated by Trixie Ashton to the Ranger High Tech Academy. The school supplies will be made available to any students in need, estimated value of $100. Fifth, gently used reading books and photo albums, estimated value of $25 was donated by Jeannie Hill to the Ranger High Tech Academy. Sixth, white shirts, estimated value of $50 was donated by the Klein family to the Ranger High Tech Academy to be used by students during start of BOE. Seventh, miscellaneous items, estimated value of $100 was donated by Jennifer Detmer to the Ranger High Tech Academy to be used by students for the triathlon. Our final gift is $1,300 donated by Robert Pustag to the North Ridgeville Special Education Department to purchase an Amtrak therapeutic tricycle for our students with special needs. Total donations received for 2019-2020 school year total $9,350. And as always, we thank our community for their tremendous support of our schools and our students. This concludes the communication.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Again, thank you to our community. It's always heartwarming to see how generous all of our community is with our students. That takes us to our buildings and operations report. Mr. Rocco?
We have several items to consider for reassignment. This will include 5 Chromebooks, 1 refrigerator, 1 desk, and 3 filing cabinets. This equipment will be used for spare parts, sold, or disposed.
Thank you. Any questions about that? No? Human resources report, Mrs. Saxon?
Yes, the Human Resources report, there are 8 special project stipends, 2 support staff substitutes, 2 certified staff adjustments, 14 support staff adjustments, and 1 job description.
Does anyone have any questions on those?
I have a question about the support staff adjustments.
Okay.
What positions are these for, and what was the reasoning for the adjustments?
So these are all food service employees, and the reason for these adjustments is we contract with food service for a certain number of hours, but they also time clock in and out. The food service director came to us and noticed because of the start and end times of school, and also that the middle school, the NRAC building, staggered their lunch periods to make sure that there were fewer kids in those large group spaces for lunches, that the request was made that there be a 15-minute adjustment for each of the 14 employees that are listed there. And that seemed, in collaboration with Mr. Younger, the Director of Operations who oversees food services, to be a reasonable request. And it also is fair to the employee, if they're working 15 minutes over every day, their contract should reflect that, or their retirement hours, etc. So that adjustment was made.
Any other questions? Takes us to our finance and audit report. Funds have been allocated by the state of Ohio that are restricted for specific purposes related to student wellness, including mental health services, services for homeless youth, services for child welfare and involved youth, community liaisons, physical health care services, mentoring programs, family engagement, and support services. City Connects programming, professional development regarding the provision of trauma-informed care, and professional development regarding cultural competence. Conference committee report shows that North Ridgeville City Schools would receive $196,917 in fiscal year 2020 and $276,494 in fiscal year 2021, for a total of $473,411 of funding to be created for this purpose. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the creation of a new special revenue fund 467 to account for student wellness and success dollars allocated to the district by the state of Ohio. Moved by Mrs. Tamira, seconded by Mr. Vaca. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Tamira?
Yes.
Mr. Vaca?
Yes.
Ms. Yetsey?
Yes.
Ms. Sacks?
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy?
Yes. Takes us to other board business. We'll go back with buildings and operations.
So under buildings and grounds report, we have one item for CT Taylor Construction has submitted a loan bid of $71,300 for construction of dugouts in the baseball field. I motion to approve the acceptance of this bid in one reading.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Vaca, seconded by Ms. Yetsey. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Vaca?
Yes.
Ms. Yetsey?
Yes.
Ms. Sacks?
Yes.
Ms. Tamira?
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy?
Yes. Again, under other board business, we have another human resources report. Ms. Saxon?
Yes, we have one certified lead replacement appointment, 3 supplemental resolution to hire non-certified and non-NRA staff, 2 support staff appointments, 1 supplemental contract adjustment, 2 support staff resignations, and 1 supplemental contract resignation.
Can I get a motion? Moved by Ms. Saxon, seconded by Mrs. Tamira. Is there any discussion?
What is the process, or I know it's here on the resolution, what do we go through regarding hiring non-certified, non-NRA staff?
So, as it regards supplemental contracts, the collective bargaining agreement says that they will be posted first internally to bargaining members. When bargaining members don't apply for the positions within the initial posting, it's reposted so that external candidates are available to those positions. Then once internal and external positions are reviewed, we go to the best qualified candidate that would be given those positions. But initially, it's posted to bargaining members first before they can use outsiders.
Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Ms. Sacks?
Yes.
Ms. Tamira?
Yes.
Ms. Yetsey?
Yes.
Mr. Vaca?
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy?
Yes. It brings us to hearing of public on new items. If anyone would like to speak about an item that is not on the agenda this evening, you may do so now. Or if there isn't anyone with the board, if you have any announcements that you need to make, you may do so.
Yes, I would like to make some announcements for the citizens for better schools.
Okay?
We're having a pizza bake-off on Wednesday from 4:30 to 7:30, and the profits from that event will be split between the Citizens for Better Schools and North Ridgeville Community Care. They are also desperately seeking volunteers to help this coming Saturday and Sunday with distributing yard signs and canvassing. They're very short on volunteers, so this is a plea to our community and to any of us. I've seen many of us sitting at the table already signed up to help, but they really do need us to spread the word so we can get more information out about issues 16 and 17 and
Thank you. Any other announcements or from the public? Seeing none. It is recommended the Board of Education enter executive session to discuss the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, compensation of public employees, and matters related to negotiations of public employees.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Tamira, seconded by Mrs. Yetsey. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Tamira?
Yes.
Ms. Yetsey?
Yes.
Ms. Sacks?
yes.
Mr. Vaca?
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy?
Yes. Thank you, everyone. That concludes our public portion of our meeting.